can get this attached. I've got some fun stuff to share with you today. Let's see if I can get this attached. I've got some fun stuff to share with you today. Let's see. Is it working? All right. I think we should be good. Even. Hang on one second. I'm going to move this just slightly. There we go. Ha. Always fiddling with the camera. Never seems to. Okay, let's see here. Are we situated? I think that we are. I need to. All right. Turn my light on. That's weird. This is not, my overhead light is making noise, so I don't know what all that is about, but we should be good. So, happy Sunday. Let me turn this on so I can see your chats. I know Sundays are a busy day for a lot of people. I'm actually thinking of changing the day we do this to during the week. Hang on one second. Let me find us to make sure that you guys can hear me and all that good stuff. Right. Here. Yes, we are. Great. Okay. If you guys can hear me, pop a comment into the chat just so that I know that my audio is working okay. I think we should be good. It seems that I always have to mess with our with my camera and everything when I get set up. So I'm sorry about that. But I think we're good now. Okay. So I thought today we would play with our magicals that were included in our September color kit. And I think that we've got more Lindy's that are coming in October. So I'm going to move this out of the way for now, but we're going to use those in a bit. We've got more Lindy's that are coming in our August, our October kits. And I spent yesterday trying to choose colors for November for our holiday kits. So yeah, so this is, if you ever wonder how I do it, this is how I do it. I just spread color out and kind of work with it this way so that I find a good mix. It's a secret as to which ones I've chosen, but I will tell you that one of them is this glittering gold, which I think you can see the shimmer in this. So you got to have something sparkly, and all of the others will be shimmery as well. So, but our color kit for November tends to always be a little bit larger because I try to add some extra things into it that we don't normally use. So, so that is coming up. And in fact, I'm going to start doing some sneak peeks for our November kits, showing you a few bits and pieces that are included in our kits because people are planning for the holidays. It's right around the corner. We've got tons of fun stuff. We've got, our kits are gorgeous. And in fact, the Santa that's in this kit is, I think, my all-time fave. But it's more on the traditional colors side of traditional Christmas colors. So we've got true red and green and gold and some pink and some blue, kind of some aqua, but it's absolutely beautiful. And I'm super excited to be able to share that with you. We've got some great dies, one of which lady, and if I'm saying your name wrong, please tell me, because I read things and I'm so phonetic. But anyway, she created a layout with a die that we're coming out, that we're releasing in November, that will be released along with a set of stencils. So if you haven't seen her short here, you'll want to check it out because it's a super cool die and it'll be really fun for making holiday cards, making obviously your layouts, advent calendars, December daily, all kinds of stuff. But we've got so many things that are well versed for that. We've got a confetti die. We've got a set of Fair Isle. So like, you know, the holiday sweaters that look like they've got snowflakes across the front. We've got Fair Isle border stamps, and we've got a sweater die that can be used along with it, and a stocking die that can be used along with them, and a mitten die that can be used along with those stamps. And we've got binder attachers that are coming out in November that will work with your December daily albums. We're going to do a cut file that you can use for advent calendars. It's like a little kind of a milk carton house that you can put a little chocolate or whatever. And you can even tie them closed and put a string on them. They're going to be small, so probably about 3 inches by 3 inches, and you can hang them from your Christmas tree if you want. So yeah, so we've got lots of fun things coming up. And so I thought maybe since we've got Lindy's stuff that will be continuing in our kits, I thought that this would be a great way to, now I gotta straighten this because I just do. Okay, so we've got lots of super awesome Lindy's stuff, so I thought playing with it and getting you all more familiar with some of the things that you can do with it is a great idea for today. So I'm hoping that you guys will enjoy this. So if you are so inclined and have a moment and haven't done so already, love it if you'd give us a thumbs up on my video. It tells YouTube that you all enjoy the content that we put out. So if you would do that, I would be so grateful. The other thing too is be sure to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already done that. We put out new videos every single day. We've got process videos for those of you that like to see the beginning to the end of a project. We've also got shorts that come out practically daily, I believe, and those are, you know, quick inspiration, a couple minutes, and you get to see our design team members create their beautiful projects using our kits, and you get to kind of see the products they're using and a little bit of the process and the finished project. So lots of inspiration there. You can visit our Instagram and be sure to follow us there. We share lots of close-ups and things like that of the layouts that our design team does. And so it's a great place to find inspiration. So if you've not done those things, be sure to do that. The other thing too is if you stick around till the end of our video, I've got a discount code that I'll give to you at the end, and it will save you 10% off on your next purchase. And keep in mind that this can't be combined with any other discount, so it's a you can only use one. So let's see what else. If you feel like you enjoy what we do and you think your scrappy friends would enjoy it, you can click the little arrow on the screen that says share, and you can share our videos and our channel with your scrappy friends. So the more the merrier, and there's so much content on YouTube that it's really nice for people to be able to find the types of things and the projects that they want to see rather than having to sift through tons and tons and tons of videos to find something that inspires them. So by doing all of these things, it helps our channel a ton, and it helps us continue to provide all of the inspiration that we do. So yes, so without further ado, what I thought we would start with is basically, today I'm using only untreated cardstock. So I'm not using anything that has gesso on it. So keep that in mind. I've got a paint palette here, and I thought it would be kind of fun if we basically start with the colors. Gosh, my hands are a mess, you guys. I've got hangnails. It's because I've been messing with mixed media, washing my hands a million times. I guess here, let's put some powder in there. That's the Gustav's Gold Leaf. And these don't have any shimmer in them. These are flat. But they're beautiful in their own right. Okay. And then we've got, oh, that was Cafe Terrace Tangerine. And then this one is Portrait Blazer Blue. I love this blue. I think it's so pretty. And you'll notice with magicals that when you put them on your paper, they look different depending on how you use them. So let's just, actually, I'm just gonna sprinkle. All right, well, we're doing it that way. Actually, I wanna try and do this in an organized fashion at first. So I'm gonna get rid of that yellow. Okay, so there is the Cafe Terrace Tangerine. Here's the Gustav's Gold. And here is and these have little shakers at the top, which is nice because that helps you be able to kind of control how much you put onto your project, as opposed, I'm just spreading these out a little bit because I did them in kind of a clump. Okay, so what we're gonna do initially is let's take our water bottle and mist these. And you'll see how I'm just gonna break up some of the clumps of the pigment using a brush. I'm not gonna blend it too much because I want you to be able to see all of the colors that come out when you wet this. And this is different. This only works with if you just add the powder directly to the magical, to the, or water directly to the powder. If you mix it ahead of time, you get a different effect. And then this is the gold. And you see it has some blue in it. It has some bits of red. And then this one as well. This has some blue and some aqua. And you'll notice that some of them are more pigmented than others. So depending on, and the way to control that is by controlling how much powder you put on. So if you want it to be lighter, then use less powder. If you want it to be more saturated, you use more. And sometimes I think that starting with less is more, and we're going to talk about that as we move forward with this. But in terms of combining colors, layering colors, and things like that. Lady, am I saying your name right? If I'm not, you have to tell me, and I'll ask Sophie, who speaks French, how I should say it. So anyway, it's good to see you. Good to see you. Okay, so so this is by adding the powder to the paper and then spraying it with water. Now, if we do it water first, I'm going to add some water here, and then we'll take and sprinkle a little bit of the powder. And the thing about this is that the pigment doesn't hit the paper and sink in directly. You've got a little bit of time to kind of break up some of these, I don't know what to call them. I want to call them grains, but you've got some time to kind of break up and dissolve some of the pigments before it soaks in. And so you'll see all of that color there and all the different colors. And then we'll do it with the yellow as well. I'm going to add a little bit of the Gustav's Gold, and we'll do the same thing by adding, I think that the pigment in that one is less fine, and so it takes a little more effort to get it out of the bottle. But you see, add a little more water here because I want to. But you can see it's got some blue in it, and you just have a little. By having the water there ahead of time, it allows you to see all the pretty colors, right? Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing with the blue. And you see it just kind of, it's like a color explosion. But you see all the different blue pigments in there. And this one, it was the way that the paper kind of warped. This didn't work quite as well because the paper was warped and there wasn't like a puddle of water for this to sit in. But there you go. So you get to see how they work differently depending on how you add them to your paper. Now let me use the thing about this bottle, I got it in the hair section, and it creates the most fine mist, but it comes out with a little more velocity. And so with the powders, sometimes it will spray them right out of my palette. Okay. And then you get it everywhere because a little bit of this stuff goes a long way. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to mix the powders up in a palette. So we're going to dissolve everything like this. And then we're going to just paint it directly onto your paper. Now, Lindy's has a couple of different ways that you can get their colors, and the thing is, depending on how you use it, it will change. How do I say this? So depending on how you use it, whether you dissolve the magical powders in water and then paint them like this, you're going to get the same effect with the mist as you will with the powders. The mists will not allow you to get this type of effect because the powders are already dissolved in the water. So that's something to keep in mind. But having both of them is, or having a combination of both is nice. Because oftentimes I look for different types of effects depending on what I'm working on. Okay, so this is the tangerine. Put it over here, and you see that it has more of a kind of a ruddy reddish tint because the pink and the orange obviously have combined together. then finally, I just am cleaning my brush in between so that I don't contaminate the colors. So here is what the blue looks like if you paint it directly. Okay, so I'm gonna set these aside and let them dry a bit because we are not done with those. Now I just need to find a place called the floor. Okay, so then let's think about if we wanted to create our own kind of a custom color or combine colors. And by doing that, you know, I kind of want a bigger sheet of paper. I'm going to do this. All right. This is watercolor paper, but I'm just going to use it because it's bigger. Okay. So I'm going to spray water on the paper. Watercolor paper holds water really well, and it doesn't deteriorate when you kind of use your brush on it to kind of blend things together. You have to be really careful with just your average cardstock, which is what I was using. I do have some mixed media cardstock by Basil. It's marshmallow cardstock, and that holds up really well to mixed media, but I was just using some Nina Solar White cardstock that I use for making cards. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is we're going to combine some colors to create some custom colors. So this will add some yellow on this side, or the gold. And over here, we'll add some blue, and we'll kind of have a meet in the middle. I love the way that the blue kind of just pops. Now I'm going to take a brush and I'm going to kind of break up. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but my cats are running around like banshees. Okay. But see how they're kind of mixing here in the middle. Okay, so here's another thing that I was gonna, I don't know if so I think I showed you these droppers that I got from Amazon. And if you cut the top of them off, you're gonna see my head here, but whoops. Okay. But you can little more water on this side. We're going to add some more gold, but I'm going to move the gold so that it's we've got some pigment or some more saturation in the center. So you can really get some like interesting color combinations by just blending your colors, right? So watercolor paper is a little more forgiving as well. So I'm going to kind of remove some of the excess water here. Okay. And if you wanted to, you could add just a little bit more. Color in the center. I'm just kind of breaking up some of that color. So, exciting things happened in our family today. My daughter, our youngest daughter, is in Chicago this weekend, and she ran the Chicago Marathon this morning. And so before this was starting, I was on the race app kind of watching her progress throughout the race. So, okay. Now, let's try and speed this up a little bit. I am going to plug my heat gun in. And we'll dry this just a bit. Now, the reason that I want to dry this is I want to show you how you build those layers of color onto your projects. Because if you continue to apply more and more and more color, wet on wet, it's just gonna blend. The blue is gonna be blue over here, and where it meets in the middle, it's gonna turn green, and which is lovely. But if you want to have that buildable color where you see different layers of different colors, you want to dry it thoroughly in between. And that makes a big difference. I'm going to kind of dry this up to speed this up a little bit. And the other thing to think about too is oftentimes the colors look a little bit different when they dry. But see how pretty this is? You've got the blue over here, you've got the goldish yellow over here, and then this pretty green in the middle. which would be a beautiful background. But if you spend a little bit extra time, actually, let me tear this off, move this out of the way. And then that way we can dry it both front and back, and you get a little less warping if you dry things flipping your paper over. Sorry for the wait. Okay. Now this is totally dry, so we can do a couple of different things with it. We could use, for this one, let's just go ahead and we'll kind of do the same thing that we were doing before, where we were adding a little bit of color. Let's see if we can get some blue. And I want to be really conservative with how I'm adding my color here. Where's my blue? Add a little. Okay. So I'm going to move this a little bit, and then we'll, over in this area, we'll add some yellow. And I just want to lightly break up this color. Where's the yellow? So I don't want to scrub this too much because I want to keep the yellow here. Okay, so now we're going to dry this, kind of bled together a little bit, but that's all right. Once your heat gun is heated up, it dries everything pretty quickly. But you see how you're getting that layer of yellow where the blue was. So you're getting that additional layer of color. And you don't get this effect if you do it wet on wet. We're gonna do one more layer on this. Okay, I'm gonna get a clean paper towel because this one. Right. All right. So now let's try and do this. Adding, I'm gonna use a round brush for this. So, all right. So I'm gonna take a little bit of the blue. I'm just going to add it in here. And I'm just going to add a little bit of water. And we'll add maybe a little bit over in this area too. We'll just do that with a brush. And the nice thing about round brushes is that they hold a lot of liquid, so they hold a lot of water. So it's a great way to be able to add water where you want it. Okay, now I'm gonna just go along the edges here and just allow some of this water to kind of come down to the edge, and then I'll blot it up just to help it dry a little faster. And then we're going to add some yellow. So this is dry. Now I want to take a little bit of blue and a little bit of yellow, and I'm going to mix it in the paint palette here. And you can do this with any of the magicals that you've got. Some water there, and I want to make a true green. So now what I'm going to do, since this is all dry, I'm going to grab my round brush and I'm going to put a bunch of water kind of in the center here. So, and then take some of this green. And I'm going to add a layer of green. Are my lights blinking? It might be. Might need to turn one of them off. I think I do because it's blinking. Okay. A little bit of powder. A little bit of powder. Okay. Now we're going to do it. You see how you get this color. And then lastly, I'm going to add a little bit more yellow, and then we're going to be done with this one, but it shows how to be able to get different colors on your project, right? So I'm going to turn this way and then get all the green off this brush. Okay. I'm going to take some of this yellow and I just need a little bit more. And the nice thing, if you use a palette and you don't use all of your paint, you can let it dry and then you can just reactivate it with water when you want to use it. So if you're working on like a layout and you've, got, like for instance, you're doing a mixed media layout and you just need to take a break from it or whatever, then you can do that. And let your pigment dry in your palette and then just add a little water the following day. Okay. So that's how you get this. I think I can bring this up so you can see it a little bit more closely. I mean, obviously, you might not use this as a whole entire piece, but I have an idea on what I might do with this if I can get this completely dry before the end of this. But just one of the things, the best thing that you can do is to experiment with your products when you get them. Don't just sit them on a shelf and have them look pretty like candy jars. Open them up, grab yourself a brush, and just get busy with them. Okay, so I'm gonna set this one aside and we're gonna look at it alongside what this looks like if we, I'm gonna add, actually I'm gonna spray this whole thing down with pigment or with water. Now, oh, you can see where it had a little bit of powder over here. Okay. So now I'm going to add a little bit of water here. Then I'm going to sprinkle this one. Add a little bit of water here. And then I'll add a little more water here. And I want to kind of blend the colors. You can see how this paper is warping. If I would have, if I was paying attention, I would have taped this down to my work surface, but didn't do that. Okay. And I'm just kind of messing these, or dissolving the pigments. Because otherwise, if you don't do that, when these dry, it'll be kind of powder, kind of grainy and powdery. So, and I don't like that look. Some people do. I don't care for that myself. Okay, so I'm gonna do this again. Actually, I have an idea since all of, I've got so much stuff landing on my glass mat. Do something else. Okay. And then add a little more yellow. Get the blue off my brush. But you see how everything just continues to blend together. yellow over here. And I'm going to add some more. Oops. Well, there we go. And then we'll kind of mix these up. All right, and then I'm going to add a little more blue. blue. So even if you have a limited amount of colors, you aren't limited by the number of colors that you can create, right? All you have to do is just mix it up a little bit and combine colors. And we'll add a little bit of pink on this side. Since the blue is so pigmented, I'm going to add a little more of this. Okay. So now I'll just let this run. Okay. So I'm going to set this aside, and then I'm going to take a sheet of just regular cardstock. Okay, all of the colors kind of blended together, so it kind of looks pretty muddy. But if we had more, if we were a little more careful with what colors we added and how we did it, let's try that. Paper towel. All right. See, it's going everywhere. You want to make sure that you use some kind of a craft mat when you use this stuff, because it does stain. I'm going to try a magic eraser and see if that doesn't. Okay, I'm adding a bunch of water to my work surface. And this time we're just going to use, let's just use the gold. And the pink, or the tangerine. Okay, now I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to break up the pigment. I'm not trying to mix it too much. I just want the little grains of pigment dissolved. And I think if you just were to sit this here and just leave it be, it likely would do it on its own. It just might take a few minutes, because I know that with the sprays, you get the pigment in the spray bottle, and then you add water, warm water to it, and then you let it sit. You mix it up and you let it sit for about 10 minutes before you use it. And I think that that is to get all of the little grains of pigment. I don't know what to call them. That's the only thing I can think of. But if you get your little grains of pigment to dissolve, let's see, that is not what I want. Do is we'll just lay it on top. And since we're using complementary colors, we're not going to get that hot mess that we got in our last. Kind of letting it soak up a little bit. But look how pretty that is. So you can mix it, put a bunch of water, sprinkle your powders, and then just lay your cardstock over the top of it. And let's try drying this. Watercolor paper is the worst for warping, because when it gets wet, all paper does this when it gets wet, it stretches a little bit. And so when it dries, it shrinks up. When I was in high school, I loved taking art classes, and one of the things that I did a lot of was watercolor, and we used to have to stretch our watercolor paper onto a frame, like a wood frame. So you would get it completely wet, and you would stretch it over a frame while it was wet, and then you'd use a staple gun on the back side of the wood frame, and then you would let it dry, and it would shrink up. And so that way it kept your surface flat while you were working on it. See how pretty that is? Love that. Get all of the This morning, I actually got a new die cutting machine. I got a Spellbinders Platinum. I haven't opened it yet, but I actually, before I decided to do this, I was like, oh, maybe I should do that instead. But anyway, okay, so let's do the same thing. We're gonna add a bunch of water. And this time, let's try putting I'm going to have some intense color areas. I'm not going to blend the whole thing. And then maybe we'll have a bit of pink here in the center. And then clear the water. And I'm just going to go in here, kind of dissolve the granules of pigment. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, let's go into the yellow and we're going to do the same thing. Anything. Sometimes these little bits of pigment are so small you don't even see them until they start dissolving. But you see some of that pink in the tangerine. Okay, so now let's just take this. I am going to, let's see, how do I want to do this? I'm going to put this, just let it, okay. Glass mats are awesome because they clean up so easily. This particular glass mat, I have to look up the name of it, but it's actually magnetic. I have magnets for it, but to be honest, I haven't used them that way. I thought I would, and then I ended up, see, this has like so much pigment in it. Let me clean it up. So my thought was, and I don't know if I can get this dry enough, my thought was to, once this is completely 100% just bone dry, run it through my die cutting machine with I can't move anything these days, it seems. With our dye, our alpha dye. And then you'd get a bunch of like ombre colored alphabet. But you can't run it through until your paper is totally dry. But this kind of gives you what the finished effect looks like. And everything that we've done today is on paper that has not had any gesso added to it. So we've got this one, we've got this one, we've got this one, which is not dry. Let's dry this just a bit so that you can But you can see how the colors are a little bit different when all of the different pigments dissolve. You know, you lose that pink and orangey color when you have it completely mixed together. It's not 100% dry, but you get the idea. And then there's this one that we did. I'm not gonna dry this one. We're gonna do one more thing, and then I am going to come up with some fun ideas on what to do with these. And I'll post some pictures on our story on Instagram. And maybe I'll make a little like shorts reel showing some finished projects, or some, you know, like not finished projects, but some ways that you can actually use these things. You can obviously use them as a background for your layouts, which is, you know, a complete no-brainer. But if you wanted to do something different than that, I'll come up with some ideas on what we can do. Now, the last thing that I'm gonna do is this bigger pad here. And what I want to do is I'm going to keep these, clean that one up, because what we're going to do is we're going to make this one, it requires a lot more finesse to get the powder out, whereas the other one, the other ones you have to gingerly add the pigment, because a lot comes out with very little effort. Okay. Now I'm going to mix these together. Like a little teeny brush. I don't want to. Okay. Mix all of the colors. And I need a paper towel. Okay. So now I'm going to rinse this really good. If you blot the color off of your brush before you stick it in the water, your water will stay cleaner and for longer. So, because these have so much pigment in them, if you throw your brush directly into the water, you're going to get really muddy water really quickly. So if you use a paper towel and remove some of that pigment, your brush cleans faster and your water stays cleaner. At least that's been my experience. Okay. Yes. See, here's the one. See, it blows the pigment right out of the little paint pot. Add a little bit more. Okay, so now we're going to mix this one. Now we're going to mix these colors together. So use a round brush, because it holds a lot of water, so it'll help us mix these together. So initially, we'll just paint a little bit of yellow. Actually, we're going to do it this way. That's the yellow on its own. Then we'll paint a little more, another square of yellow. And we're going to add some of the pink, the tangerine to it. So this creates kind of that orangey color. Go ahead. Now this time, I'm trying to clean this brush. So this time, we're going to take this, we're going to paint another square of yellow. We're going to add less of the orange. I'm just going to put a tiny bit in the center. And you see how I've got some of those grains of pigment in there. Break this up. We're gonna basically do is we're going to kind of take a sample or make just some color swatches of all of the different hues that we can get using these three colors. This one is going to be yellow, and I'm literally adding a dot of okay. So you've got a variety of different colors within that single with using two colors, right? Now I'm going to add I think maybe the trick is to do the water and then the powder, and then it doesn't blow the powder everywhere. Okay. That's pretty full. I can tell that there's still sediment at the bottom of that paint pan. Okay, so here's the yellow. Actually, let's do this. We're going to do yellow. Because we want to keep these wet, because wet on wet, the colors blend together seamlessly. So they'll basically turn into a single. Okay, so here's this. Do one more. some of this. Okay, and now we're going to add, make sure that this is mixed up. Okay, so now we'll add some of the blue. And you've got this pretty green. The next one, we're going to add less green or less blue. This one, you get more of a spring green. And then this one, we're going to add like just hardly any at all. And you just get a slightly tinted green. Okay. All right, so now we're going to move on. I need to tie a little string on my favorite brushes so that I can easily find them. Okay. So because we used all of our yellow, we're going to need more. Nope, did it again. Okay, just mix that up. All right, add a little bit more. You know what, if we need more, I'm just gonna have some extra water in some of these. Okay, so now what we'll do is we're gonna take mix this up. Okay. We're going to add red, or the tangerine. And it's going to create a square here with only the tangerine. Then we'll create another one. With the tangerine. And then we're going to add the yellow to the tangerine after the tangerine has already been absorbed into the paper. And see if it makes a difference. I think it kind of does. This one is definitely more orangey. Okay, so now we're going to take this and make another square. less yellow. And finally, more pink. Use this one. See how much we get. So weird how this, when you initially dissolve it, it looks so bright pink. And then it doesn't. Okay. Just a little more of this to just, okay. So there's that. And let's just add a tiny bit of the yellow. Okay. Now, so this is like a prime example of why it's so important to experiment with your mixed media supplies when you get them, because you'll notice that you get completely different effects by how you combine your stuff together. Okay, let's see. Now we're gonna do blue. We got some blue. We'll add some blue. Okay. Create another one. Some blue. Do the blue, and then we're adding the yellow to the blue, or the gold to the blue, and see if it does something different. Okay, so now take the blue out of this so that, and let's add quite a bit of yellow. It's kind of actually kind of muddied that up a ton. Okay. But it's interesting because depending on how you combine these, even though they're blending entirely together, it's interesting to see the difference in the colors. I mean, obviously there's, you know, a little bit of, I wouldn't say user error, but there's, you know, you obviously are, depending on how much color you add. Let's see. Okay. So this one's a little less yellow. But you have like a whole rainbow of color here. tiny bit of yellow here. So it's kind of funny because these greens have a little bit more of a blue tint to them, as opposed to these are very lime green. Okay, we're gonna do one more because we're gonna do the pink and the blue and see what that does. And I'm gonna just use a smaller sheet of paper. I'm gonna turn this way. Okay. Push that out of the way. Now we're gonna do blue and we're gonna do pink. Okay, so let's mix these together. Mix, mix, mix. Mix, mix, mix. Okay. Grab your water. I like the green shades too, Laura. It's hard to find good greens in not only paint and mist, but also, did not want that to happen. But also in watercolor. So sometimes just starting with the basics and adding to them. Okay, so here's the blue. Make 3 blue squares so that they're very similar. Okay. Make sure these are as equally saturated so we get a real Does this one clean? This one is clean. Okay. So now we'll add the tangerine, and this one. The thing about this is that it does have a little bit of orange in it, and orange and blue typically make mud. So I think we're gonna get kind of a plum or raisinish purple. Okay, so there's that one. It's almost a gray, which is good too. You know, sometimes that's what you're looking for, but you can see it's got some warm color in it. So now go back in here. We'll add a little bit, not a lot. But because this has a little bit of pink in it, that's where we're able to get that purplish color. And then very, very little bit. Okay. So now let's go the opposite direction. And we're going to put the pink. I think we've gone all the different ways, right? Let's put the, I want to call it pink, tangerine. Okay, so add, make sure these are all nice and well saturated. Okay, now we're going to add the blue to the pink and see what happens. Less. Although it's muddy, it's still pretty, I think. And it could add that a little bit of depth, I think. But if I were to use this, any of these, I would make sure that whatever I am using it along with is completely dry. Because, like, I love the idea of having, you know, the option of using some darker colors. Gotta be careful with things that are a little bit muddy. But I do like the color variation that you'll see in that. So anyway, yeah, so you've got all kinds of different ways that you can use your Lindy's. And I'm going to have some more ideas to share with you in the coming days. I just have to do a little brainstorming to see what I'm gonna do. But I think with the alphabets and some of our dies, I think that we could get some really cool things. If you guys, I'm curious to know, are you more cut file people, or do you like using dies more? You know, I used to be heavily into cut files, and I am still for certain things, but I really find myself gravitating towards using dies because I think that, I don't know, there's just something super cool about them. And I think that being able to use, you get some more intricate shapes. And the thing that I also like about metal dies is that the cuts are so clean. So, and I'm excited to try my new die cutting machine because I currently have a Gemini, and I'm having all kinds of problems with it because my plates are warped, and I find it really difficult to get my hands on replacement plates, and the plates warp easily with that particular die cutting machine, and I'm not sure exactly why. I feel like it doesn't have a platform. So like the Big Shot and some of the other die cutting machines, they've got a thicker plastic platform. And so I'm thinking maybe that's why plates don't tend to warp as badly as they do with, gosh, my desk is really, I'm gonna try some things to clean this up because I've got stains everywhere. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's meant to be dirty. So I'm super excited. I think we did a lot of fun stuff today. I really like the way that all of our stuff turned out. I mean, lots and lots and lots of fun things. Here we've got these things, and we've got this one, and this is all using only 3 different colors of Lindy's. And look at all of the different colors you can make. So, and all with untreated cardstock. So, and there's some beauty in that. All right, my friends, how long did I go for today? Horribly long? Not so long? 102 minutes. Under 2 hours. That's a good thing. All right, you guys, thanks for joining me today. And I'm actually going to put out a poll in our Facebook group. I'll do it here on YouTube as well, to see if we can come up with a day during the week that we could meet together, or day or evening. I'm just finding Sundays are kind of hard for a lot of people. And with my kids all being grown, you know, they only have 2 days off during the week, or during, you know, on the weekend. And so we can't really get together and do family stuff on Sundays. And I'm kind of missing that. So I'd like to find a different day if we can do that, because I enjoy getting together. I enjoy getting crafty, but we just need to find a different day to do it. So keep an eye out for that poll. And yeah, so thanks you guys for joining me. I will talk to you this week, and I will post a notification of the day that we decide to change our lives to. I believe, let me look here really quick. I think that Natalie, before I forget, I think that Natalie is live on, hang on, I gotta open my calendar here because I don't remember things. Gosh. And this is how this goes. Okay. I want to double check because I think that Natalie is live on Wednesday at 11. Oh, the other thing too, if you go to hipkits.net, hipkits.net, and when you check out and enter KHUTCH at checkout, you'll get 10% off on your purchase. So if you are wanting to pick up the alpha dies or the Lindy'S in our color kit, which comes along with a super cool stamp, which is shown in the thumbnail of this video. I got it right here. And you can use your Lindy'S to stamp using the stamp. I did this a while back. So, all right, so let's see here. Design team October. Just want to make sure that I have my dates right. So what is this week? Also too, while I'm thinking about it, let's see, we are going to be the 16th. Okay, no, Natalie is not this week. She's next week. Elisa will have a video here on the 16th, so you can stay tuned for that. Yeah, so gosh, I'm losing my train of thought. So use that coupon code to pick up any of the items I showed you today, or any items in our store, and you'll save 10%. And if you subscribe to our Hip Kit Club, you'll get a discount code that will save you 15% rather than the 10. So, and it'll save you 15% on every add-on kit purchase that you make. So head on over to our website and check that out. I'll put links in the description box shortly. And I will also include the information of the products we used and the kits we used today. So in case you're looking for those, yeah, you'll find them there. So thanks for joining me, everybody. As always, I totally enjoyed this. And I'm looking forward to finding a day during the week that we can start meeting up. And it can be either daytime or evening. And in fact, so my cat is attacking my my computer monitor because my hands are doing this all over it. So anyway, kind of funny. All right. I'm rambling. So you guys have a great week. I hope you find time to experiment with your mixed media stuff and make something pretty. Talk to you next week, you guys. Bye.